Dark Angels are fantastic in the current meta. I just went 5-0 at a grand tournament, and I'm really excited to share with you my list, how I did it, why the list is the way it is, so that I can help you get to as much success as possible. Now, even if you're not a Dark Angel player, this video is really, really important because I'm going to share with you the concepts of the list design and how you approach a tournament so that you can start getting better results in tournaments. Here we go. Let's just break it all down. So I was at the safeties off second coming of the double Christmas for one of the more ridiculous possible names of a tournament. Totally great. Absolutely loved it. This was a 5-rounder. There was going to be an optional 6-round if it was necessary for us to get down to a single undefeated, but it wasn't due to some drops that we had. And this was a fantastic charity tournament, but we had a blast down here in South Carolina headed by the safeties off team. And we're actually hosting it at a VFW, or Veterans of Foreign Wars, which is a fantastic location for tournaments. For any of you guys who are looking for places to hold tournaments, it was actually a really, really great location. So shout out to the safeties off team. This is a little bit of a different tournament review because I don't have the videos of it. And the reason for that is because I was on stream like 3 times because I kept being on the top table, blessedly. And so I was streamed the entire time. So if you guys want to check out those games and you want to see how I pilot this list, I'm going to link down below the Safeties Off channel where they actually have the VODs available for you to actually go watch how we played it on stream. So you can go watch everything. You can see all the decisions I'm making, and you guys can really learn quite a bit from that. So Dark Angels, they felt great. I did get to play into the Menace of the Meta, and which was Victrix, and it handled them quite well. So this list actually has all the things, all the tools it needs to handle basically everything in the game. And it's also designed really, really interestingly. And let's just get into it right now. So I'm going to go share the list now, and we'll go over some of the rounds, some of the matchups, and things that were struggles and things that you really need to pay attention to when you play Warhammer. So Jonathan Arkin from Happy Carpet Wargaming, that's me. Let's view this list. Here we go. We'll just pull it up just like this. All right, cool. So I was Wrath of the Rock, and I was at 1990 points. And the reason why I was at 1990 is because this was before everything had updated with points, so Azrael was still at 1550, so I made it for 1990, just because Azrael is officially 125 points. That's why it says 1990s, so if you're doing the math, that's why you might get a wrong number, but it ended up being 2,000 points, just to be very clear. That's why I'm 10 points under here for Azrael being 115. So, legal list. There we go. All right. So I do take Azrael. I take Lionel Johnson because Big Daddy John is pretty dang important. You have the Ancient and Terminator armor with the Deathwing Assault and the Lieutenant with Copperwood. Now, this is very, very similar to the list that I took to the World Championships of Warhammer. There was really just one change. Effectively, what I did is I dropped the Impulsor because I found that I really just didn't need the Impulsor, even though I kind of liked having it. And I turned him into Scouts. And the reason why I did this is because the Azrael went up by 10 points, so I had to figure out how to make those points. So I just dropped the Impulsor, turned it into a second squad of Scouts with combat knives. And honestly, I think I prefer the list with the Scouts anyway. One thing that I was uncertain of is I did keep the Desolation Marines in my list. I'll tell you how I thought about them in the new meta, because the new meta might not really require them. So I'll tell you my thoughts on that after we get through everything else. So the rest of the list was 2 squads of Deathwing Knights. One of them was with the Ancient and Terminator armor for that turn 1 Deep Strike with the Deathwing Assault keyword. I had 1 squad of Desolation Marines, 1 squad of Plasma Inceptors, 1 squad of Inner Circle Companions, and they are obviously going with Azrael because Azrael has the second best combat buff in the entire freaking game. So it always irritates me when I see people take Azrael and just have him solo, or he just leads Assault Intercessors because they're like, oh, I want to keep him safe so we can continuously generate me CP. That is not the correct way to run Azrael, in my opinion. He has the second best combat buff in the game with his sustained hits and his with his sustained hits he gives the unit, and the 4 Field of Pain against Mortals he gives the unit once per game, and the 4 Invulnerable Save he gives the unit. That is the only combat buff that's better than that is going to be Morgan Val's 4 rolls to hit, 4 rolls to wound combat buff. Maybe you could argue Marnie's Calgar's advanced shoot fallback charge, but I think Azrael needs to be in the thick of things. His CP generation is a bonus that I enjoy, but it's not why I take him. It's because I take him because he has an insane combat buff. All right, then we have 2 squads of Scouts. One was with like a missile launcher and a sniper rifle, and the other one was just combat knives. 1 Gladiator Lancer and a Calidus Assassin. That is the list that we had to play with. It was great. All right. Round number 1, I played against Joseph Nax Marrero. Actually, no. Before I get into that, let me just say one thing here. I was really, really concerned about the Desolation Marines because with the nerf to Eldar, I didn't think that they were actually going to be as relevant. Because the Desolation Marines originally went in the list to make this list really good into Eldar, because the Desolation Marines with +2 strength using my stratagem basically just one taps any squad of Howling Banshees. It shoots using Oath, and I don't need Oath of Moment in this list because the Lion gives me a 6-inch aura of reroll 1s to hit and wound, which mean all my Deathwing Knights, my ICC, the Lion, wherever he is, they're still going to slap super hard regardless of whether or not I am using Oath. So I'm always free to use Oath on the Desolation Marines. That's why this list works with the Desolation Marines. I am happy to report that the Desolation Marines were highly valuable in every single matchup that I played this game. And that makes me feel good because I did play some things that you would expect they weren't good into. And it turns out they were. So round number 1, I'm going against Joseph Nax Marrero. And Nax was an awesome opponent. I really, really enjoyed playing against him. He was running Questoris Companions for the Imperial Knights. Now, we look at, can I just click on his list here? Yeah. And this one, I believe this was Purge the Foe. So I was playing against the Imperial Knights on Purge the Foe. He was running a Cerastus Lancer with the Sustained Hits 2 enhancement. He had a Castellan. He had a Knight Crusader, Callous Assassin, Ministorium Priest, Sisters of Battle Immolators, Seductor Squad. So when you looked at this matchup, one of the cool things that I really, really liked the squad of Desolation Marines for was, well, I draw Assassination turn 1. Boom, kill the Ministorium Priest. Boom, I'm happy, right? I have to go kill the Subductor Squad, but I don't want to expose my Deathwing Knights or anything to go kill them because then the big Knights are just going to pick up my squads. No problem. Desolation Marines, kill the Subductor Squad. I don't have to worry about that anymore, right? So what happens is it just basically means all the things that have to get destroyed without me having to trade for them. And that is more than worth the Desolation Marines points. So many people are concerned when they see the 200-point value of the Desolation Marines. But the reality is it's going to require me 80 to 100 points just to have a unit sitting on my home field anyway. So I might as well also, in addition, kill 100, 200, 300 points worth of units. More important than even killing those units is the fact that I don't have to trade any of my units for those little units because the Desolation Marines just freaking do it. Make sure when you're using this squad, you always coordinate where the Combi Lieutenant gives you the reroll 1s on the objective. Typically, I like to use that on my opponent's natural expansion or my natural expansion. Occasionally, I'll actually use it on my opponent's home field if they're trying to hold their home field with chaff. Right? Okay, cool. So, fairly straightforward game. Let me just go ahead and click on the pairings here so I can actually, because I don't remember what the actual score was. It was 87 win into 50 for the Knights. The tail of the tape here is really just I took the turn 1 position with the Deathwing Knights, and that was the game. I was able to kill all of his trash without dedicating anything. He got 1 turn to shoot my Deathwing Knights. Rapid Ingress the hero, the Lion. You can't shoot the Lion because the Lion's blown up from the Deathwing Knights. He didn't one-tap the Deathwing Knights. I charge in, I kill. There's not much he could have done. It is what it is. Now, in round number 2, I think this was my first round on stream. I was playing against Daniel Twitty, who ended up dropping. We were a 77 win into a 75 loss. Now, this was an incredibly close game. That was an absolute blast to play. Daniel was an amazing opponent. Had a blast watching him. If you want to go check that game up, it is going to be linked down below on the Safeties Off Discord. Daniel was running a 15 or was it 12? It was either 15 or 12 Victrix Guard list, and he also did have Robute Gulliman, and that was a very, very big deal. Personally, I think Robute Gulliman is a good darn choice right now if you're going to be running Victrix spam, because having the 2 Oath of Moment targets is really important because they are only Strength 5, and if they're not going into an Oath of Moment target, a lot of times Strength 5 just does not cut it. So I once per game, I know one of the units can go Strength 6, but regardless. Anyway, this was a weird game where both of us just constantly had dice that did not work, and it went both ways. He had awful dice, and you'll see that when you watch it. Like, I think I shot like my super crack missiles into Gulliman. Gulliman fails all of his saves. Gulliman dies. Gulliman doesn't stand up. Really bad luck. And then I think I had a go turn where I had 4 charges to make, and I had a CP to reroll one of them. One charge was 6 inches, and the others were all 4 inches, and I failed every single charge, even with a CP reroll. So both of us just had these devastatingly bad dice turns. So it really just came down to who had the better game plan. And so I was able to edge it out, and that was actually that was really, really nice. So it was a great match. Had a blast playing him. But it really just goes to show that when you have the correct game plan with an army list, you're going to be fine. And I'm going to actually go on TTS here in a moment, and I'm going to show you what the game plan is after I go through the rest of these. And then I'll talk to you if there's any changes that we need to the list to do to the list in the current meta. Okay, so round number 3. We were playing from me into Steven Soroka. And if you guys don't know Steven Soroka, he was on the team X and 4, which is a hilarious name for a team. This guy was an incredibly, oh, sorry, guys, I clicked down. Was an incredibly impressive player. He played exceptionally well. We were playing on Search and Destroy GW1. Now, when my list goes first, and like I said, I'm going to show you in just a moment, as soon as I'm done with these reviews here, how the list operates on the tabletop. My list, when I go first, most of the time, it's really hard to beat me if I also get to drop first. Because I'm going to put my Deathwing Knights turn 1 in a place where there's nothing you can do about them, and you're just going to have to eat it. And that is really, really, really bad. So I did go first here, but what I did is I made a single mistake, and honestly, I forgot to bring my turn 1 Deep Strike Deathwing Knights in, and that gave Steven an opening. Now, the score is not reflective of how close this game was. Steven did such a good job of recognizing how terrible position he was in, because I just moved my units forward, and I said, hey, please break upon the anvil that is my army. Just charge on into me. Most World Eater players would have shied away from these charges because they know, hey, my -1 damage AOC into the Deathwing Knights. You know the Lion is where he is. He's going to try to heroic. But the World Eater's game plan is to charge 2,000 points into you and devastate you. And they know that when I fight back, or if I charge him, it's fight on death, all these things. Steven recognized that because I didn't deep strike my Deathwing Knights turn 1, he was able to grab a much better board position if he went now. So he went now. He actually had an extremely good turn. And because of the board position that he had grabbed, I was forced into perfect play for the rest of the game. I could not have made a single extra mistake. Luckily, I was able to play correctly. I did not make another mistake. But Steven recognized how bad a position he was in when I went first on that map. And he was able to really give me a super, super good run for my runnies. So I just want to give him a big shout out for that. Let's go to round number 4. Round number 4. Come on. Round number 4. Update. And I believe I was on stream for this one. I was playing Mr. Luke Henderson, who had a really, really interesting pack-bound Zealots list. Let's go ahead and analyze this one. This was a CSM list. And he had a Lord Discordant on Hellstalker, which is really strong. I really like this model. I actually had no answers for him. He was a big problem. So he had a 5-up Feel No Pain, and since he was Mark of Slaanesh, he was able to advance, shoot, and charge. And that was very, very relevant for his list. He built this list specifically to counter the Victrix Guard spam, and he actually did a great job of it. So he took Abaddon, he had Cypher, Fabius, Disco Lord, and Hellstalker, 2 Cultist Mobs, a 10-mana Chosen, a 5-mana Chosen. Now, the 5-mana Chosen went with Abaddon. I was a little skeptical of this, as we'll talk about maybe in just a moment. But I think that's the only thing in his list I was a little skeptical of. He had 2 squads of Obliterators, and with Abaddon, they get full rerolls to hit, and they can once per game use their indirect. He had a 3-man of Bikers, he had 2 Vindicators, and he also had a Hellbrute. So basically the combination is you run Abaddon, and he's castling up to give the Vindicators, the Pew-Pews, the Obliterators, full rerolls to hit. The Hellbrute gives a 6-inch aura of both lethals and sustains, and since it's pack-bound Zealots, you all have Mark of Nurgle, so you're all getting crits on 5s. So it's all going to be lethal and sustain on 5s. It is one of the more disgusting combinations in the entire game. This game would be impossible for me to win if I did not have a Calidus in my army. The Calidus Assassin, 1 strategic drop. It makes his fight on death cost 2 CP. It makes his Overwatch cost 2 CP. It makes his healing stratagem cost 2 CP. It makes his lone up stratagem cost 2 CP. That was what I needed to get the in to actually smash into him. And this was on stream, so I think you should go watch it. There was one error in play that I think he made that I think you'll be able to see on that stream. And besides that, the guy was freaking awesome. And I also had a blast playing him. Just a super, super nice and fun guy. But the mistake he made was he split fired on the turn where he had to kill the Lion. Guys, if you're playing against the Dark Angels and you want to kill the Lion, you kill the Lion. You don't split your shots. If you're not going to try to kill the Lion, you go kill everything else. But you make the decision, and you cannot split fire, because if you split it and the Lion lives on 2 wounds, you're just completely toast. And that is exactly what happened. The Lion, I think he lived on 1 wound, and then he was toast from there. So that's a really, really big problem that he had. So I would highly recommend in the future for anyone who watches this, if you're going to try to kill the Lion, you either put everything into killing the Lion, or you worry about everything else and you just ignore the Lion and feed him a unit a turn. That's my recommendation for that. But anyway, Luke played a great game. Please watch that match. It was a lot of great things to learn about. Okay. And then the last matchup that was also on stream, I was playing into Clay Plumridge. And this was one of the most, I think, perfect examples of how you can design a list to go first. So I designed my list specifically to go first. And in about 2 minutes after I finish talking here, I'm going to show you exactly how that works. So Clay Plumridge was running a very, very good Ultramarines list. He was Captain Sicarius. That's the one who gives the scout move. Marnius Calgar, Uriel Ventress. Each one of them was going to be with Victrix. So 6 with Captain Sicarius, 6 with Uriel, and 3 with Marnius Calgar. He had the Captain and Gravis with the Artificer armor, a Lieutenant with combi weapon, intercessors, and cursors, Victrix Honor Guard, Victrix Honor Guard, Victrix Honor Guard, like we said, 2 ballistas, and 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Now, the incursors were there to give like +1 to hits, the Redemptors and stuff, while the Victrix were there just to smash everything in melee. I went first. I dropped. He had no choice but to charge me, and he had to turn 1 charge me because otherwise I was just going to sit on the board. And when he did it, he knew the line was going to rapid ingress. He knew the line was going to kill something. He really had no choice. And you can see this on stream. It's really, really worth watching because I think I'm proud of the execution, and I think it's just a really good learning experience for those of you who think that going first is always bad. Going first is not bad, especially if you make a list that's designed to go first. So now let me go onto my TTS screen here because I want to show you what I mean by my list is designed to go first. And you'll have to pardon me because the audio is going to get a little funky because I have to hold it. I don't really have a microphone holder. So audio might get funky for a second, but I'll fix it. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and switch my TTS screen to live here. Hey, here we go. This is a TTS screen. So just pardon me for the microphone for just a moment here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put my so I'm just gonna put my face kind of close by so you guys can still hear me. If it got a little quieter, you might just have to turn the audio up for this. All right. Yeah, it looked like a gremlin, but I don't have a more elegant solution right now. So basically, what I did is turn 1. I got the first drop, which meant I dropped my scouts right here. When I drop my scouts right here, this means that he can't put his infiltrator to block my infiltrators. This means that I am now perfectly safe if I go first. I will get to drop my Deathwing Knights on this objective. So this is GW8, and we were playing Take and Hold on Hammer and Anvil. So I put the scouts here first. Now, I know that my opponent can kill the scouts if he goes first. And what he's going to do is he's going to have to come right here to shoot them. I'm fine if he wants to put a Redemptor Dreadnought or anything relevant right here, because then my Lancer gets to pop a Redemptor turn 1. So if I go second, I'm cool. And I will, of course, scout the scouts to be wholly off of this objective. Now, if I go first, which is what happened, what I do is I am prepared to scout forward, move block, charge something that's, relevant or whatever, or just do actions. But the most important thing is from right here, I can just drop my Deathwing Knights on this objective turn 1, which is exactly what happened. I dropped my Deathwing Knights basically right here. Boom, 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 boom. Something like this, and I had my Ancient was right here. Now, I'm going to draw a line for you guys so you can see what you have to do. He's got to basically... Oh, geez, that was a herpy-derpy line. Let's get rid of that herpy-derpy line and give you guys a real line. So he's going to have to basically stand here to shoot me. And because he was afraid of my Lancer, he had his Redemptors over here, so he had nothing to really shoot these guys with. Now, at this point in time, because I had also actually had these Deathwing Knights deployed on the battlefield, and I just advanced them up turn 1 to touch this objective. From this position, they can actually reach out and charge him if he wants to touch my objective, so he can't out-OC me here. It's impossible for him to out-OC me here without me charging him. If he does nothing, if he doesn't come to me, I win the game automatically because I'm guaranteed to get 15 points on primary. So if he doesn't come after me here, I'm just literally going to do nothing for the rest of the game, and I'm going to score 15 on primary every single turn. So Clay's put in a position where he literally has to come charge me. So turn 1, what you're going to see him do is he's actually going to end up charging all of his Victrix into my Deathwing Knights. He knows I'm going to rapid ingress the line, which I do, but it was really his only path to victory because if he didn't come dig me out, I just sit here and get 15 points. Now, you'll hear me talk on the stream if you go and watch it that I think he went a turn too soon, and I do think he went a turn too soon, but I understand his reasoning for why he didn't think it was a turn too soon. Because realistically, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to score this. I'm going to score this. I'm going to score my home field where my Desolation Marines are, who are just killing his incursors and his intercessors and things. And I don't ever have to move. I'm just going to win the game. Because I've got OC like 12 here if he charges me, because the Ancient gives me +1 OC. If he charges me, whatever survives, I'm going to spend 1 CP to give them +1 OC. If he also charges me, I'm also going to get 4 OC from the Lion, who's going to rapid ingress. If he tries to charge me over here, I'm going to Ravening with the Lion over here. It just becomes a horrible mess for him. No matter what happens. And this is what happens when you design a list to go first. You can just trap your opponent in a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. So, guys, that is basically how I design my list. It works on the other maps as well. It was just the best worked right here, which is why I really wanted to show you it, because this is kind of like an ideal scenario. There's other scenarios that are good, but this was like ideal. So I really wanted to show you this particular setup. So with that, this was the Safeties Off tournament. I wanted to give a really, really big shout out to the Safeties Off team because they had an amazing event they ran. And all the players who were there, you guys were all rock stars. Super fun to get to see you. I think I enjoyed literally every single match. Every single person was awesome and very impressive in their play. There are some incredible players in the area. I think we had people driving from Augusta, people driving from Raleigh, Durham, and we had some of the local South Carolina players. Also wanted to give a big shout out to Big Smoke Wargaming, who is a local team in the Lexington area in South Carolina. Those guys are awesome. They gave me an awesome hap, and I do love those guys. I'm actually going to go play with them this next weekend, and we'll record some battle reports with them. So great game to all of you guys who were there. This is my Dark Angels list. If you guys want more information, hop in the Discord, or you can find me. You can book some coaching calls at my coffee, which the link is in the description down below, and I can help you build the Dark Angels list of your dreams so that you can go crush. It's not just Dark Angels. Like, that's just the list I'm playing right now, but I can do it with any list. So with that, I love you all, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and I'm looking forward to more epic Warhammer stuff for later in the week. Crump on. Bye-bye.